Hello and a very warm welcome from the German Creative Europe Desk Culture in Bonn. My name is Marje Brütt and I'm very happy to be here today launching our new web series called Culture Beyond COVID. It is nothing new though that the cultural and creative sectors have been hit hard by the ongoing pandemic and urgently need better support mechanisms to maneuver out of the crisis. 2020 is therefore a very crucial year, however, not only because of COVID-19. Moreover, the EU is currently negotiating its future budget for the upcoming 7 years. And this will also pave the way for the next funding possibilities, including for culture. And this is where we want to start off with our video project, providing you with insights into the EU funding for culture and helping you to find suitable support mechanisms for your cultural and creative activities in times of COVID-19, but also beyond. Furthermore, we also want to invite cultural and creative professionals to share their experiences in times of crisis and also to share some ideas and visions they have for the future European cultural landscapes of tomorrow. So, if you are a cultural and creative professionals, you probably often feel lost and overwhelmed by the complexity of the EU funding landscapes and its terminology. And that is why we're here now. So let's try and untangle this chaos and make it more transparent for you. In today's episode, I will provide a short summary of the ongoing financial discussions on the European level, as they are crucial for the future funding instruments, and then I will give you a brief overview of Creative Europe and its future design. But first of all, let's start with a little detour into the EU budget and its ongoing state of affairs. So what you can see here is the current state of affairs of the EU budget. As I said before, it is a long-term budget lasting for 7 years, which is called the Multi-Annual Financial Framework and which you can see here in blue. Due to the special circumstances deriving from the spread of COVID-19, the EU has initiated Next Generation EU as a special recovery package, which you can see here in orange. There is a differentiation between the categories of money provided and loans and money provided and grants. In total, the multi-annual financial frameworks and Next Generation EU form the future household, which is still under negotiations. The European Council has agreed on its position in July 2020, and it is now up to the European Parliament to agree for the EU institutions to finally adopt the budget for 2021 until 2027. What is most important for you to know is that the future funding programs cannot kick off as long as the EU budget has not been finalized. So we apparently still need some patience in this regard. But let's have a look at it and see where culture actually plays a role. First of all, we will look at EU support in light of COVID-19, basically Next Generation EU. Regarding the support measures that the EU is implementing for the recovery from the ongoing pandemic, Next Generation EU foresees different instruments. I really don't want to dive deep into this complex topic, yet it is important to underline the following. Both REACT-EU and the Recovery and Resilience Facility aim at supporting the EU member states in recovering from the ongoing pandemic. You can see both instruments here on top, marked in orange. In order to benefit from this support, the member states have to design a reform and investment package, and it is up to them to include the cultural and creative sector. If they do so, the cultural and creative sector gets access to this additional support. Therefore, the European Parliament and a wide range of European cultural networks are currently advocating to earmark at least 2% of the Recovery and Resilience Facility. The other instruments mentioned in the last circle, managed by the European Investment Bank Group, will be outlined in another episode of this web series. Now let's have a look at the multi-annual financial framework. When we look at the latest version of the multi-annual financial framework, we can find in total 7 categories, which you can see here. They range from topics such as environment, migration, to research and innovation, as you can see in blue. Even though you cannot see culture here on the first side, culture is actually hidden in 5 out of these 7 categories, explicitly and also implicitly. And this is underlined by those who are marked in the lighter blue. And I think that is something positive to start with. So throughout this series, I will step by step demonstrate how and where you can actually access EU funding for culture and help you navigate into this complex system. So to sum it up, what we can see here is that the ongoing negotiations define how the future of the funding landscapes will look like. We don't know for sure how it will look like yet, but we can already have a glimpse on some of the older proposals published by the European Commission in 2018 to understand how the possibilities will most probably look like. And that is where we are heading now to get a better understanding of Creative Europe and see where it will lead us in the future. So here we are with Creative Europe. As you might know, it is the EU funding program to support the cultural, creative and audiovisual sectors. In July this year, the European Council has agreed in dedicating 1.64 billion euros to the future program. This is a slight increase in comparison to the current budget, yet the European Parliament and a wide range of cultural networks in Europe advocate doubling this budget in order to sufficiently support the cultural and creative sectors, especially in times of crisis. Thus, it remains to be seen how the financial negotiations will affect Creative Europe. As you can see here, it is divided into 3 sub-programs. The audiovisual sector is at the core of media, while culture addresses all other cultural and creative sectors ranging from literature, street art, music and performing arts to museums and cultural heritage, amongst others. The cross-sectorial part includes the support for additional calls and the administration of the program. We will now focus on the culture strand and show you what you can expect from the next generation Creative EU Europe. We will now mainly focus on the culture strand and show you what you can expect from the next generation Creative Europe. Here it is once again important to say that this only represents the current state of affairs and that we are still waiting for the final design of the program. On the one hand, most of the already existing categories will continue in a similar way. This includes the biggest part, the so-called cooperation projects, which aim at facilitating transnational projects, fostering the collaboration of cultural actors from all over Europe. Similarly, the European networks and European platforms that usually represent and advocate and strengthen a certain cultural sector and support emerging artists will remain part of the program. Furthermore, a dedicated support to the literature sector will be provided by funding literary translations, as it has also been the case previously. What is new, though, is the sector-specific support for the music sector and a special program fostering the mobility of artists and cultural professionals. In both contexts, there already have been pilot calls under the current program in order to prepare these new measures. Another focus will be put on the topic of cultural heritage. Both regarding the old and the new support mechanisms, the concrete criteria are yet to be known and further adjustments are to be expected. So, what are the next steps for you to benefit from Creative Europe? First of all, the new household has to be adopted. Then the different EU institutions, mainly the European Parliament, the European Council, and the European Commission, have to agree on the future guidelines for Creative Europe. And only when this program guide is adopted, then we can expect the real call for proposals where you can submit your cultural projects and apply for funding. Considering that the current negotiations have been slowed down not only by COVID-19 but also by the Brexit, we most probably only expect this to happen in the first half of the next year. So only be news in some time soon. We know that you and we all still need some patience to get some more news. And we also are aware that these informations provided today are still very vague. We still hope that it might help you a little bit to get some orientation in this jungle. And as soon as we have some official news regarding the future program and the design of Creative Europe, we will, of course, inform you on our social media channels and via our newsletter. So this is where we are standing right now with Creative Europe, and we are looking ahead to some very exciting times. But now I will first introduce our next episode, where we will be talking to Jasmin Vogel, the CEO of the Kulturforum in Witten, and she will describe her current work experiences under the ongoing restrictions. And most interestingly, she will also explain how she wants to rewrite the cultural script in the future. So thank you for keeping posted and see you next week. Bye bye.